The Lakers are the 5th seed, and look, they're not a bad team. They sit at 5 in the West, and things could be worse, right? But when I look at the Lakers, their main problem is defense. By stats, they are one of the most scored on teams in the league, and opponents shoot 48% on 3-pointers. That's crazy. And look, this is where I gotta talk about Luka, Austin Reeves, and LeBron. Look, the role players they have, look, and this is where I gotta expose Luka. He's not a good defender, right? I mean, his rotational defense is terrible, and his awareness on defense is terrible. Yes, he's slow-footed. Yes, he's a big person. It's hard for him to stay vertical. It's hard for him to slide laterally. But the biggest problem with Luka is not being aware of where the ball is. You're always going to catch him ball watching, and he always loses track of his defender. And almost every time, that's points for the other team. And look, it's not just Luka who's the problem here. Austin Reeves, not that great of a defender too. Look, as a one-on-one defender, Austin Reeves, he's not as bad as it gets. But off ball, he might just be as bad as Luka. I mean, he does not know where to be. He's always ball watching, and again, that's just giving teams free points. And when you talk about LeBron, he's just not the same athletically anymore. Yes, LeBron, he's 41. He's getting older. He's not that same player we saw even 5 years ago. And look, that isn't a diss towards LeBron. Actually, it should really be a compliment because he's still an all-star level player at 41. But athletically, you're gonna lose some of your step being that old. So LeBron just isn't the same on defense no more. And look, most of these defensive guys on the Lakers, Rui Hachimura, Jaden Vanderbilt, and specifically Marcus Smart and Vanderbilt, there's so much of liabilities on offense that you don't even want to have them on the floor sometimes, even if defense can save the team, because they can't score. Look, Marcus Smart, good catch and shoot player, can attack the closeout sometimes. Other than that, he's lost a step. Jaden Vanderbilt, no offensive game. I mean, I don't think I've seen him done anything but dunk a wide open ball. So the Lakers are limited in offense. So the Lakers, they're limited in defense and just 3-and-D players. And then the cherry on top is DeAndre Ayton. Look, I don't want to put too much blame on DeAndre Ayton because this isn't all his fault. But he's just not the best defensive player, right? I mean, not the most reliable rim protector, gets burnt on screens, effort isn't always there, and they don't really have that much defensive talent, and it just leads to a fully offensive team. And as you all know, defense wins championships. If you have no defense, you're not gonna make it far. And look, this is for y'all Lakers fans. Teams that win championships, they usually have good defense. Look, their two-way guards or forwards, they can contain elite scorers. They have bigs who can alter shots at the rim, which I'm not saying DeAndre Ayton can be that player, but he's definitely not consistent enough. And the Lakers have a lot of switchable wings who defend multiple positions. Without these, the Lakers are just a strong offense that can be neutralized in playoff half-court settings. So look, I want to give a group of players the Lakers can get at the trade deadline. And look, I'm not going to do all that trade stuff, matching salaries. Y'all just take it for what it is. But first, I have the Lakers getting Herb Jones. Look, elite perimeter defender, all defense caliber defender. He's the league's top wide choice. If the Lakers can get Herb Jones, then they're fixing a lot of problems here. First of all, I just want to say Herb Jones has not been the most efficient shooter lately. But I'm sure in a system that has Luka, he'll find more ways to be open, and in return, he can make more 3-pointers, be more efficient. When you talk about Herb Jones, you're talking about one of the best defenders in the league. And the Lakers just desperately need somebody who could shoot the threes at a high clip, which with Luka and Austin Reeves on offense plus LeBron, there's no doubt in my mind that Herb Jones will at least get 4 wide open threes a game. And they just need a great defender, and that's who Herb Jones is. Herb Jones can step into the Lakers, and he could be an X factor. That's the type of dude he is. That's the type of dude Herb Jones brings to any contending team. Look, also Andrew Wiggins on the Miami Heat. Look, Andrew Wiggins, he's a strong 1-4 defender, and he has veteran experience. He's won a championship before. He's an athletic wing with a lot of switchability. Look, when you talk about Andrew Wiggins, it doesn't get more versatile than him at his position. He could shoot the 3-pointer, and he could create offense for himself. Pretty decent on-ball creator. The Lakers need that desperately, trust me. And he's a great defender. Overall, I just think he fits the Lakers like a puzzle, because he gives them the 3-point scoring that they need, and he's also going to give them consistent defense. And he could honestly make up for the flaws that Austin Reeves and Luka are putting out there on defense. Next, I got Walker Kessler. Look, Walker Kessler, he's injured right now, so this would have to be an off-season trade. But I think he would fit perfectly on the Lakers. Look, Walker Kessler, he's on an expiring deal in Utah. He could join another team. I'm not 100% on that. Correct me if I'm wrong. But if he does join another team, I think the Lakers are the best choice. Because look, DeAndre Ayton, you probably just want to trade him, right? You probably just want to get him out of here. Look, he hasn't been the worst. But if you could get Walker Kessler for DeAndre Ayton, pack your bags, DeAndre Ayton. Walker Kessler is a great rim protector. He's a beast at rebounding, and he's one of the best center at blocking shots in the league. And he would help the paint defense immensely for the Lakers. I mean, they'll be unstoppable. And he's also a switching big option, meaning that, look, he's good in drop coverages. He's good guarding the guards, and he can hold his own, especially on a perimeter. We're just talking about a guy who would instantly change the Lakers into a 5th seed to like a championship contender. That's how good Walker Kessler is. Next, I have Matisse Thybulle. Look, this is a dude who nobody wants. Look, Matisse Thybulle is like 2 years away from being out the league. Go get him right now while he's on a cheap deal. And look, I'll say this, he has no offensive game, so you can't expect nothing there. But if you could get a guy who could come into the lineup and just play pure gritty defense, that's a good energizer bunny off the bench. And for what would be a really cheap contract, I don't see why the Lakers don't do it. Next, I got Robert Williams III. Look, he's on a Portland team where it's obvious that Portland wants to move on from him, and it's obvious that he wants to move on from Portland. Look, Robert Williams, great rim protector, especially at his size. He could play power forward, he could play center, and he's great at catching lobs. He would fit right next to Luka, especially at the pick and roll. When we talk about elite rim protectors and an interior defender, that's who Robert Williams is. If y'all go back to the 2022 finals, y'all would have seen how good Robert Williams was. He was so undersized, yet he was so good at blocking shots and just being an absolute menace defensively. And look, his stock isn't the highest right now, so that's someone who you want to get if you're the Lakers. Next, I got Keon Ellis. Look, Keon Ellis, his time's coming up on the Kings. The Kings, I would imagine they probably want to do a hard rebuild, trade any talent they have right now, trade any stock. And look, he's a great perimeter disruptor, he's great at getting steals, and he's a young, cheaper option that the Lakers can go grab. And look, he's great for the depth of the team. Can play that shooting guard, can play next to Luka, so he could also help him on defense, and you're just going to see a very talented player. Next, I got Terrence Mann. Look, this one might be a little controversial, but he's just a rugged on-ball perimeter defender. He's a veteran role player with some shooting. You know, I'm not going to act like he's a sniper from the field. You know, I'm not going to act like he's a three-point specialist. But I will say this, he's going to give you great on-ball defense. And if you're the Lakers, you'll definitely take that. Plus, go pick up his contract and he could fit right into the system. Quentin Grimes. Look, Quentin Grimes, he's having a great year in Philly. If you're the Lakers, you go pick him up. He has 3-and-D wing potential. And if you're the Lakers, having Quentin Grimes would be an absolute lifesaver. Not only is he a great defender, especially for his size at the shooting guard position, but he's a three-point specialist too. And you're gonna get an unstoppable team. Now, there's 2 players in Pacific. Now look, there's 3 players in Pacific that I wanted to save for the last. Look, if the Lakers can get Bruce Brown Jr., if the Lakers can get Bruce Brown on the Nuggets, even next offseason, that's huge. Because Bruce Brown, he's a great cutter, he could play amazing with Luka, he knows how to run sets, he's a veteran at the game, he's won a championship with the Nuggets. You're getting a great defender and solid shooter with Bruce Brown. Plus, he brings some athleticism to the team. Any team would take somebody like that. Next, I got Davion Mitchell. Look, Davion Mitchell as a pressure defender is one of the best in the league. He knows every single in and out of the defense. He knows how to play defense at the highest level. And when you talk about a great perimeter defender, one of the best in the league, we're talking about Davion Mitchell. Great on-ball defender, great off-ball defender, and he would just completely change this Lakers team for the better. Plus, he can shoot the 3-ball too. And look, for the most controversial, I got Lu Dort on the Thunder. For the Lakers, you're probably going to need to throw a bag at the Thunder to get Lu Dort. But if you do get Lu Dort, I mean, we're talking about a guy who can completely change the Lakers. Look, Lu Dort, very physical defender, I'm sure y'all will know. He would instantly change the Lakers culture, he would up the defense, up the ante, and he's a solid enough shooter too. Look, with Lu Dort, something he couldn't do early in his career is attack closeouts, and he couldn't make the defense and he couldn't really punish the defense. Nowadays, he can attack the closeout, he can shoot mid-ranges, and if the Lakers go get Lu Dort, they'll be such a complete team. But that's just my thoughts, man. I want to hear what y'all think. Who should the Lakers get? If y'all like the video, leave a like, subscribe, turn on notifications. I'm not SGA, but call me Mr. Consistent. And until later, I'll see you on Mars. Peace.
You telling me you falling out of love with me. Hope you can find someone to love you better than I did. Taking our memories on love and treating it like nothing. Taking our memories on love and treating it like gossip. It's my love for my grandmother make me gentle when I care for you. Tell me you're falling out of love, breaking my heart in two.